Entrepreneurs can invest so much time and effort in building a business that they can forget to make the most of their own and their company's retirement planning. Dingus says that can be a costly mistake. He's a managing director and chief portfolio strategist with Fragasso Financial Advisors. And welcome back. Good to see you again.
You too. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, you know, you talk about, we just heard in the previous couple of segments about how time consuming it is to build a business. And sure, you might at some point, hopefully, you know, get big enough, you have employees, you put a retirement plan in place, but you got so many other things to worry about. I would imagine sometimes it's hard to really pay that much attention to the plan.
Yeah, it becomes, a retirement plan should be working as hard as you are for your business. And a lot of times business owners are concentrated on running the business, growing it to the next level, that sometimes they need to take a step back and say, this retirement plan's grown considerably, is it appropriate? And they really need to take a step back and focus on the plan and make sure that it's having the same success that their business may be.
Well, and it's interesting, they have a personal stake in it as well as their employees ordinarily.
Absolutely. A lot of times the bulk of the assets in the plan may be the business owner. And outside of the business itself, that could be one of their greatest assets in their portfolios.
And it becomes a real, I guess, edge too if you're trying to recruit and retain talent if you have a first-rate plan.
Absolutely. We found that some of the first things that a potential employee asks after benefits is how is a 401k plan? Is there a match? Is it who runs it and so forth? Because as Social Security and so forth has changed over the years, and you know, the pensions have been decreasing over the years, a 401k plan is often one of the biggest focus for new employees.
Well, and this whole area of the law seems to change constantly. It's a confusing thing, I would think, for any business owner to keep an eye on, unless you have an army of HR people to help you figure it out.
That's correct. A lot of times, larger organizations usually have a dedicated. Sometimes they have multiple people dedicated to nothing more than the 401k plan or the retirement plan of the business. But in some of the smaller businesses, that could be just one of the tasks of the business owner or the HR person in their world of daily activities. In that case, sometimes they really need to rely upon some other support to make sure that they're heading in the right direction and staying abreast of a lot of the changes.
And do you really find the world is changing a lot when it comes to these plans and how they have to be administered? Yeah,
absolutely. One of the biggest changes is expected to happen in January of 2012. The Department of Labor has taken a step back and rethinking a lot of the laws as it comes to fees and fiduciary responsibilities. To that end, from a fiduciary standpoint, it really takes a step back and puts the onus on the plan sponsor, the investment advisor, the provider, to make sure that things are in order and they're meeting the guidelines of the DOL.
But that's something that's hard to sort out on your own.
Again, coming back to your original points, that you know, a lot of times the business owners focused on growing their business, they don't have time to stay abreast of those changes. And what's important is you really need to find a trusted advisor or a trusted person that's staying abreast of those changes or has been above that curve for years, like Fragasso.
Any particular pitfalls that people need to watch out for as the calendar rolls around to 2012?
I think the two big things that the DOL is looking at are fees and to make sure that they're proper for the size of the plan and the assets and so forth. The second thing that could be a pitfall is to make sure that you're doing your fiduciary responsibility as far as looking at the plan itself, making sure that the investments are proper, participants are educated in the way they need to be, so that they're making the choices that they feel are in their best interest.
Yeah, even that aspect of it, the educating participants, has kind of gone back and forth. I remember in the beginning it was sort of hands-off on the part of the employer. The employees just had to navigate it. Then employers started to get into trouble if they weren't educating their employees. So where's the balance being struck now in that respect?
Yeah, there's a lot of open-ended questions as we come into 2012, but one of the things we are going to see is that from a certain standpoint, it's going to come down to the fees and the fiduciary responsibility. As far as educating the participants, there's still talk as to who can and cannot sit down and give advice, but we know from a certain standpoint that you at least have to provide some guidance. And if you're not meeting that general guideline of guidance, you may have some responsibility that you might be neglecting.
Interesting. Well, I guess if you do this right, though, there's really is a lot in it for you as the business owner as well as your employees.
Again, what's interesting is a lot of people think, after they sell their business, they still retain those assets in the retirement plan. So they stay with you. And again, after the business, that could be your largest asset.
Very good points. So words to the wise, and good to know. Well, change is coming in 2012, so to stay ahead of that curve. Dan Dingus from Fragasso Financial Advisors. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. And we'll be back in a minute with a little more dollars and cents. Stay with us.